But I've been to Kentucky Derby, and it's such a spectacle, and it's a big day for racing. And every year we have the Kentucky Derby, the Belmont, and the Preakness. And I go to the one guy that I trust that knows a lot about horse racing. He's my insider. He's the purveyor of FastlaneHandicapper.com website. You check out all the race information there. Let's welcome into the locker room from the FastlaneHandicapper.com, Jeffrey Nash. What's up, Jeff?
Hey, Billy. How you doing? How you doing, guys?
All right,
Billy,
Jeff.
Next year you're coming with us to the Derby.
Well, and you know what? It's funny you should say that because I spoke with our mutual good friend, Lou Capelli. He says you guys have a 2-year-old that he has high hopes for.
Yeah, we do. We bought a 2-year-old at the Timonium sale this year, and she's a beautiful filly. So maybe not the Derby, but the Kentucky Oaks. That's the Friday before the Derby.
So, Jeff, let me ask you a question in regards to that. How does a horse qualify for the Derby?
There's a point system. Every horse has the opportunity to run in the Derby. Most of the horses, they have to be a 3-year-old. And during the year, whether they're a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old, they earn points by running in races. So horses that run in some of the graded stakes races get higher points for good finishes in those races. And the top 20 horses that have the top 20 point total get to run in the Derby.
Jeff, now I want our listeners to understand exactly why I come to you for horsing knowledge. If you can make it brief, tell us. I love this story, and it's worth repeating. Tell us about your childhood around horses. You're growing up around the horses with your father.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Brooklyn. There's actually a horse in this race called Brooklyn Strong, which is a long shot, but I may throw $2 on it for that purpose. But anyway, when my parents were divorced when I was young, and my sister and I would be picked up by my dad for visitation, he would sneak us to the racetrack with his buddies, and that's how I learned how to read the racing form. It's actually how I learned to do math. And when he used to drop us off, instead of saying "I love you," he'd look us in the eye and say, "Don't tell your mother."
Right. And I can picture your dad smoking cigars, right, with the paper in his hand.
Oh, papers, beer, cigars, cigarettes. At the time when you could smoke in a restaurant, and that's my upbringing. But believe it or not, despite that, I have great memories of my dad, who was just a terrific father. Of course, he was a horse racing guy, and that's where I learned to love the business.
You know, Jeff, it's Scott McKay. It's funny you say that
Scott.
because we had 4 horses when I was growing up. And at 10 years old, I learned how to read a racing, racing the difference, all the things. It's amazing how much information is really on one of those things. And if you know what you're talking about, it's not going to make you win, but it's certainly going to help. But it's we had 4 horses and they were trotters, but it was fun, as a young kid to go out to the track and have a good time like that. So, and I haven't been back since, I don't think, but I love watching this Derby, so it should be fun. Todd Pletcher's got 4 horses in this race. What do you think the chances are? I mean, obviously, Known Agenda is a big favorite for him probably, but what do you think his chances are of winning another Derby?
Yeah, well, with 4 out of the now 19 horses, because the number 16 King Fury was scratched this morning. So he has 4 of the 19 horses running in this race, and I think his chances on at least 2 of those horses are very good. Known Agenda, as you mentioned, is a 6-1. He won the Florida Derby. He might be peaking at the right time. He's trained by Hall of Fame trainer Todd Pletcher. And the only issue with Known Agenda is that unfortunately, they have this draw for the post positions, and he got the worst draw, and that's the number 1 post. So he's going to be squeezed against the rail. If he's able to avoid that, he's got a great jockey on him, Irad Ortiz. If he's able to get through that opening of the race and position himself well, he can do very well in this race. And the other horse that I like that Pletcher has is my long shot pick in this race, and that's Dynamic One. Dynamic One, no one's really paying attention to. He's also trained by Todd Pletcher. This horse was purchased as a yearling by the owners of the horse, and they paid $725,000, so they must have really liked what they saw during the sale. But he struggled when he was a 2-year-old. It took him 4 times to win his maiden race, and after he won that maiden race, Todd Pletcher put him in the Wood Memorial, which is quite a step up from winning a maiden, and he did really well. He finished second. He just got nipped by a stablemate, Bourbonic, who's also a Pletcher-trained horse. But this horse is improving, and if he matches the pedigree that caused the sale of $725,000, I think this horse could be charging down the stretch.
We're talking with Jeff Nash of FastlaneHandicapper.com. Check out his website for all your last-minute updates on what horse you think, what he thinks is going to win, and give you best odds to win. I noticed, Jeff, looking at the field, a lot of long shots, a lot of 50-to-1s, a lot of 20-to-1s. Is that unusual for a Kentucky Derby? Is that, or just it's like, because essential quality, everybody's talking about this horse like it's, he's a shoe-in. But is this unusual for all these long shots?
Yeah, I think that's a consequence of this being a really wide open field. You can make a case for any one of the 19 horses to win this race, and it's so unusual that you would have that circumstance. Any horse can win. I'm going to have my 3-year-old son, Eddie, pick the winner every his birthday. And
that's real scientific.
It's probably the best way to pick the winner. But in this field, the odds are reflecting I think the fact that there is a strong favorite in this race, and that's essential quality. On paper, this horse is spectacular. He has run 5 times. He's won 5 times. He was the 2-year-old champion of the year in 2020. This year he's run twice, and in both those races he won. His highest speed ratings came in the last 2 races. This is the 3rd race off of a layoff, which is in racing circles, supposedly the strongest of the races. And whether it's a fast pace or slow pace, this horse sets up 1 to 3 lengths behind the leaders and always runs his final quarter down the stretch his fastest. He's well bred. His sire is Tappet, which is an outstanding sire, and he's got a great trainer and a great jockey. Very interesting, Billy. His jockey here is Luis Saez. If you remember 2 years ago in 2019, Saez was the jockey on Maximum Security. He was disqualified in that race.
Yeah.
So I think Saez has something to prove. He is the winner. And on top of it all, there is a guy named Mattress Mac, who is a publicity stunt, is betting $2 million to win on Essential Quality. That's going to even lower the odds on this favorite, and that's going to raise the odds on all the other horses.
By the way, Jeff, just real quick, Scooter, I remember, was it 2 years ago that horse was disqualified, and I was with you. We were at the Cooper River Park for that Derby day, and or was it maybe 3 years ago? And I thought he got ripped off. I don't think that horse should have been disqualified, or that jockey should have been disqualified.
Yeah, it was a tough call, especially in the Kentucky Derby. The rule is you have to stay in your lane. So if you step out of your lane, you can be disqualified. The question is, was his stepping out of the lane so severe that it would impede the horse that ultimately was placed as the winner, the long shot? And the stewards viewed that it was, but it was very controversial. And I'm sure the owners and the trainers and of that horse they appealed. They lost the appeal. But Saez is an outstanding jockey. And again, I think he has something to prove. He's got this favorite, and this horse is impeccable. It's hard to bet against him.
Well, Jeff, it's good that you let your son, Eddie, you make him wait like the horses do. They have to be 3 years old before they can do anything. But it's funny. We talked about Known Agenda a little bit. And other than being on the rail, which is a tough spot to be, he's also run 6 races in the last few months, and half of them were over a mile race. I mean, he's going to be he's got some work to do. He's going to be a little tired, I think, at this point.
Yeah, one of the criticisms is just that he's been overworked. Part of the winning this race is having the trainer peak the horse at the right time. And people like Bob Baffert, who has Medina Spirit, a 15-to-1 shot in this race, they are known to get their horses in perfect racing form by Kentucky Derby Day. And as you said, to your point, has Pletcher really had this horse primed for a big run on this day? His past performances this year have been terrific, but we'll see if he's ready to run against the top horses in the country, in the world.
Right, for the casual horse fan and someone that just participates during the Derby, the Preakness, or the Belmont, some of the names of these horses are pretty cool. Known Agenda, Like a King, Brooklyn Strong, Keep Me in Mind, Mandalone, Medina Spirit, Hot Rod Charlie, Dynamic One, Hidden Stash, Helium, Rock Your World. Pretty soon we're gonna have a horse named COVID-19 coming out.
You never know.
Probably
I'm thinking if helium fills up, he'll be able to float around the track and he'll land right in front of the field, and his legs will still be good.
I think he's going to probably need that today. There is a horse that I want to mention, this Rock Your World. Now, our mutual friend, who I call Lefty Louie on my website, he picked Rock Your World. And there's also a good friend of ours, Brian the Bug Boy. He's a police officer, Brian, at the Ocean City Police Department. Okay. They both select Rock Your World, and for good reason. He's the second favorite in this race.
Yep. He's 5-1 right now.
Yep. I'm sorry?
He's 5-1 right now.
Yeah. Right behind Essential Quality. This horse has only run 3 times, and he only ran 1 time on the dirt surface. Before that, the other 2 races were on the turf. He ran the Santa Anita Derby, and he just blew out the field, including Medina Spirit, who's running in this race. It reminds everyone of 2018 when Justify won the Santa Anita Derby with not much experience, flew east to run in the Kentucky Derby, and then won the Triple Crown. So people are comparing Rock Your World to Justify. If he's as good as Justify, he's going to blow out this field. He'll win the race wire to wire by 3 lengths.
We're talking with Jeff.
The question is he that good?
We're talking with Jeff Nash from FastLaneHandicapper.com. Give me a long shot. What's your long shot? Because I'm looking at soup and sandwich.
Yeah, that's like every day.
Soup and Sandwich is an interesting horse. Not much experience. It has like a lunch pail type of name, but the truth is that horse is a very, very well-bred, expensive horse. His sire is into mischief. Got to pay $225,000 just to breed your mare to that horse. And this horse is a long shot. But again, he finished second to Known Agenda in the Florida Derby. It's going to be a lot for this horse to push through. I think, again, the long shot that I'm looking at is Dynamic One. I think Todd Pletcher might have this horse ready to go. I never discount Medina Spirit at 15-1, trained by Bob Baffert. What's really interesting is the jockey on Medina Spirit is John Velasquez, who, by the way, won the Kentucky Oaks yesterday for a Todd Pletcher horse. John Velasquez is running for Bob Baffert, where he usually runs for Todd Pletcher. So that's an interesting factor. And Baffert always has his horses ready. The other horse that I like is Highly Motivated at 10-1. Well-bred, always run consistent, went toe-to-toe with Essential Quality in his last race, and is really training well for a guy who has trained at Monmouth Park, Aqueduct, and he could have that horse ready to go. But in the end of the day, I have to go with Essential Quality based on what I said before, his pedigree, his trainer, his jockey, his past performances. I think he's ready to win this race.
All right, give me an exacta today.
I'm going to go with Essential Quality, but I'm going to take Highly Motivated as my number 2, but I'm going to box it with Dynamic One in case that long shot squeezes through. I can't discount Rock Your World or Medina Spirit or Known Agenda, so I'm going to play them in my exotics. But my number 1 is Essential Quality with Highly Motivated.
And then your trifecta?
I'm going to throw in, I'm going to key those 2 horses with the 11 Dynamic One, 15 Rock Your World, 8 Medina Spirit, and number 1 Known Agenda. And whoever Eddie decides to bet on, that's who I'm going to play as my exotics.
All right, Jeff Nash, we really appreciate you coming on and giving some of your expertise on horse racing, the Kentucky Derby. It's the 147th running of the Kentucky Derby. By the way, 1875 was when that first race went off. It's amazing.
Seems like yesterday.
All the history and the pageantry. It's beautiful. I can't wait for the fastest 2 minutes in sports tonight at 6:50, I believe is post time. 6:52, something like that.
That's right.
All right. Jeffrey Nash, FastLaneHandicapper.com. We really appreciate it.
All right, guys. Thanks for the opportunity. Good luck, everyone.